MK Pulse proudly sponsors Seclo Sounds. MK Pulse is Milton Keynes' local magazine, bringing helpful information on food, health, fashion, money, travel, culture, and much more to 66,000 readers every month. Plus news, views, and what's on from around the city. If it's happening in Milton Keynes, it's in MK Pulse, and it's available online at www.mkpulse.co.uk. MK Pulse and Seclo Sounds, the heart and soul of the city.
Hello, I'm Mike Barry.
And I'm Bob Bluffield.
And together with Alan Mullion, we bring you The Grumpy Old Men on Saturday morning between 8 and 10. We take a look back at what's been happening during the week and let's just say discuss it.
Oh yes, we do play some good music as well. That's all here every Saturday morning between 8 and 10 on Seclo Sounds.
Together on seclosounds.org.
Your listening station. Climb up, way up high. Climb up, way up high. Climb up, way up high. Willa, heavenly angel, I want you for my
Siddhartha, of course, and a stairway to heaven. A very warm welcome to Seclo Sounds Community Radio for Milton Keynes. That's it, thank you very much. Right.
MK Flyers Online, a fast and simple way to find any kind of business or service locally. Find us at mkflyersonline.co.uk or download the MK Flyers mobile app from your app store. MK Flyers Online proudly supports Seclo Sounds Community Radio for Milton Keynes.
There we are, and of course we are Community Radio for Milton Keynes. Very warm welcome to the show this morning. We've got me, Mike Barry.
Me, Bob Bluffield.
Brian White.
And Alan Mullion.
And together
we are
the Grumpy Old Men.
Yo!
Yes, indeed. All right, what are we going to kick off this morning?
Before we start, Mike.
Yes.
It's not every day that a major film is announced in Milton Keynes, where Milton Keynes, there'll be car chases being filmed through Milton Keynes, there'll be 20-odd days of filming in Milton Keynes, and Hollywood comes to Milton Keynes. Yeah. And I think it's really great that we're now, as a city, having major films being made here. And I think we ought to ask the producer of that film why he decided to do it. Why did you decide to do it, Alan?
Well, I'll tell you why. It's a bit like that great American evangelist. It's I had a dream.
Billy Graham? Oh no, the other one.
No, Mr. King.
Mr. King.
I had a dream, and that's the honest truth. I had a dream. I thought, right, okay, I've got a story in my head. I'd like to tell that story, and I'd like to tell that story on film. And I thought, how do I do that? And I decided that I needed to find a mechanism to do that. So I joined the local Milton Keynes film societies, and I joined various arts places in Milton Keynes, and met lots of people that were involved in making film. Talked to them, put a team together, and we are now going to make a full-blown feature film, which is very
It's a
exciting.
multi-million-pound film here, being filmed here in Milton Keynes.
It is
with
indeed.
car chases through the grid roads.
Who's doing the car chases?
We've actually got a stunt driver whose name...
Can I do it?
Stig.
Yeah, Stig.
Can I do it?
We were up yesterday. It's actually a car and a motorcycle chase.
You've got the roads closed off?
We've got a little bit of work to do with the council on that, but that doesn't seem to be too much of a problem. And we've the people at Triumph Motorcycles up in Woburn have lent us one of the lovely Triumph motorbikes, and they're equipping their actors with leathers and everything. They're really contributing to the
Actors with leathers?
Oh yes, we have Pippa. Pippa is the star.
Who's Pippa? Is that a he or a she?
Lisa Rogan. She's absolutely beautiful.
She's in leathers?
And she's going to be getting in and out of her leathers on the film.
Girl on a motorcycle.
Gentlemen, can I remind you that we are listening to Community Radio in Milton Keynes and not an advert for a massive film.
I know, and we must stop thinking about actresses getting in and out of their leathers on
Actually,
onto big motorcycles.
I think that one of the things that I was going to talk about a little later on in the show, actually, but I think it's probably be appropriate to now. I don't know whether you saw it on the television in the week. It was in the news, the local news broadcast, television news broadcast, of the head camera of the motorcyclist who unfortunately got himself killed. You know,
Yes.
you didn't actually see the point of impact, although it was.
You can on the internet.
Okay, I mean, I didn't go that far down the road, but I mean, I think that it is very brave of the mother to actually allow it to be allow it to be shown. I mean, I don't know how much whether she had any real say in it, but the point was that there seemed to be this great bit about the fact, you know, that he was travelling at speeds of 100 miles an hour. You know, well, I'm sorry, but I mean, I would not wish the death of anybody at all like that. But if a motorcyclist is wearing a head cam like that and bragging and doing 100 miles an hour on those sorts of roads, personally, I think he deserves to be killed. You know, the trouble is, you're going to kill somebody else.
Would he have survived at 70 or 60? The answer is no.
But
And the car that came out...
Oh, yeah, but you're
I didn't realise he was doing 100 miles an hour.
I totally agree with you on that point.
And
you
it
know,
was,
but
and
if
it's
he was-
something that happens all too often.
Oh, yes.
That cars come out of junctions without looking
This
and
car-
seeing a motorbike.
No, this car was turning right on a main road. All right, so he was turning right across the main road and went across him. Now, had the guy been travelling a little bit slower, he would have had more distance and time. It maybe only a split second or so. But
He might have been seen. He wasn't seen because he was coming at such a pace and not to, you know.
Well, this was
you
it.
don't
I
know
mean,
if
he
it
was.
a bend
He
in
was
the road or what.
because I saw the cars, and it was a second car in or something that was on a left hand or turning right. You know. Okay, so the guy probably didn't have much of a chance. In fact, I think they charged the driver with driving without due care and attention. But I think it's just so sad that, you know, they sort of brag about the fact that, oh, you know, I'm doing 100 miles an hour on my bike. It's just happening around Milton.
We have a whole culture called Top Gear that does that.
We have in Milton Keynes, we have grid roads, and they're very, very good and very fast and very safe. But there is a cult of motorcyclists that actually roar up and down there at speeds must be in excess of 100 miles an hour, you know.
And cars don't.
You hit somebody or something in a car and you do stand at least a little bit of a chance of survival. On a motorcycle, you do not stand any chance whatsoever. And personally, I would like to see the EU, never mind about banning Hoovers with big motors in them and all that stuff. I'd like to,
We'll
I'd
come
like to
back
see
to
them
that.
ban motorcycles. Yeah, I'd like to see them ban motorcycles.
But no, it isn't about. It's about safe driving. And it doesn't matter whether you're driving a car, a motorbike, or a push bike. It is about being aware of the road conditions. It is about being aware of other road users.
Quite agree.
And too often, we think, because we're in the bubble of a car, that we're safe, and we've got this false sense of security.
Yeah. Particularly
and it is
people in four-wheel drives these days.
Absolutely.
Also, I mean, it's just as dangerous to go slow. I mean, I was up in Yorkshire and north of England this week, and some of the driving up there was appalling. I thought it was bad enough in Milton Keynes, but there were people driving along like 30 miles an hour, 20 miles an hour on a 60 mile an hour road.
Oh, you mean the 30 mile an hour speed limits? Oh, fantastic.
No, they didn't need the speed limits because they were driving under that anyway. But that brings me to my first story, which is the speed limit for tractors is expected to be increased in an attempt to stop frustrated motorists overtaking dangerously. The Department of Transport plan would see the limit most tractors rise from 20 to 25 miles an hour next spring. Well, that's going to make a big difference, isn't it? I won't go on to read the whole story, but they are frustrating on roads. And again, this week in the North of England, I was coming the other way, fortunately, but going north on the A, whatever it is, it goes to York.
41.
Is it to York?
Yeah,
there must have been a 10-mile queue back, all because of one tractor driving along the road, which nobody could pass. And it was... no wonder people get frustrated and drive recklessly. Yes. Jack Archer.
Yes.
The answer's in the soil.
Yeah, the thing is, though, these guys have got a job to do, haven't they? And if you've got to move your tractor from one field to another...
They have, but a lot of these tractors aren't actually technically allowed on the road because they've got no registration. And they use them illegally, aren't they, some of them?
Oh, they're not, are they?
They're probably going down the pub.
Did you report them?
No.
So which do you think is the most suitable candidate for your anti-vehicle warfare system that you carry around in your car then? Caravannettes, caravans or tractors?
Oh, caravans are shocking as well.
Caravans,
God, yeah.
Yeah, so guided weapon systems that take out caravans.
I've got that already, lasers, yeah.
Laser beams.
I didn't encounter many caravans this week, I have to say. It's probably because
they're going into hibernation shortly, aren't they?
Hope so.
I had a caravan once and I hitched it up to the back of my car and went over a hump in Milton Keynes and I looked in my mirror and there was my caravan going past me. It actually unhitched itself from the vehicle.
Well, there's another story. Caravan style in today's Times. A suspected illegal immigrant has been found clinging onto the bottom of a caravan on the M20. He's been transferred to Home Office Immigration Enforcement, said Kent Police. On Thursday, Sue Tabor, 59, from Dover, found a migrant hiding on the back seat of a Fiat Panda. What's that got to do with it? Well, staff at the Cross Channel 3 used a fire hose.
That's a different story.
No, it's not. Well, staff at the Cross Channel 3 used a fire hose to force back migrants who... Oh, yeah. It's all about
she had two dogs in the back of the car.
Yeah.
And he managed to get in under the seat.
Yeah.
Really?
And she drove home, opened to let her dogs out, and found this person in her car.
Yep.
God forbid.
I mean, it's an incredible story.
Well, they stormed the ferries and had to close the port, didn't they? Because it's all got...
Well, you see the Mayor of Calais saying that he's going to shut the port unless the British authorities actually do something
actually,
about it.
It's a she. It's the deputy mayor. But
so why have we got to do it?
Do you know...
We're already financing the system.
We're the magnet. Because this country is such a terrible place to live.
Absolutely
people are dying to come here. Yes.
Do you know, I think that...
Even people that want to change the culture here, it's something different.
I think that if we balance the cost out, it would probably be far cheaper for us and everybody just to let these 2,000 people, put them on a boat and bring them into this country and make them work, but actually just invite them in. Why not?
And if you look at
we do, don't we?
If you look at the economies of migrant workers, they actually give a massive amount to the economy and actually make our economy work in many parts of the country.
That's right.
And we would struggle if they weren't there.
Yeah.
So this whole debate about immigration should be based on rational thought, not the kind of prejudices that the media love to...
That's right. I mean, that's what I say. I think we should pull down the barriers. I mean, we are in Europe, after all, and you can drive from France through to Turkey without stopping at any custom control barriers at all.
Can you drive through to Turkey?
To the Turkish border.
Yeah, to the Turkish border. But coming back into this country now, and all of a sudden we're faced with
That's
these poor
because
wretches.
we're not part of the Schengen Agreement.
Well, I know that. I know the reasons behind it. But I still maintain that in expediency and costs and everything else.
And that was pandering to the Daily Mail.
Yeah, well,
it was John Major's pandering to the Daily Mail.
Yes.
And to the Carswells of this world.
That's right.
That meant we weren't part of that, which means we've still got border controls, which means that we still have these kind of problems.
Yes. And I don't actually, if we were to just open the doors, we wouldn't have, and France and Calais wouldn't have these problems. But I mean, it's escalating, isn't it? Because it's making me feel now. I mean, I used to travel across to Calais a couple of times a year. It's making me feel now. I don't want to go there. Because I don't want the aggravation of these poor wretches trying to get into my car or anything. And it's
the thing is, you can have a level-headed discussion. But the bottom line is there are a great many people in this country that are feeling overwhelmed by the amount of immigration that is happening.
But you go back in history, and there's always been immigration. Most of the people who are actually coming in, if they went back in their own families, they'd find they were immigrants as well.
Absolutely, and I don't have a problem with it. But even in the past, there were small areas of London where perhaps certain populations came in for a little while. Certain places like
the East End.
The East End's been a melting pot for a variety of immigrant communities, Jewish communities, Bangladeshi communities. A number of communities have come into the East End of London, and a number of communities have come into various other parts of the country. The Italians in Hampton and the like. And they've provided a wonderful contribution to this country. And, the idea of banning immigration is just silly. What we've got to do is regulate immigration so that we end up in a situation where you've got whole communities in places like Boston where they feel they are being absolutely swamped by East European immigration to the point where they've become the minority in their own town.
Yeah, but why are they there? It's because the gangs are actually using them as cheap labour.
Yeah. Undermining the whole economy.
Exactly.
But nevertheless, there were you've got to balance that against there were farms that just couldn't possibly they'd grow the crops and then they'd leave them to rot in the fields because they couldn't afford to harvest them because there wasn't the labour available, and what labour were available was too expensive. What they've now got is labour that will actually bring in the crops at a reasonable price, and everybody can actually do quite well out of it. And that's fine. So you've got to balance that against
there's
the
no
fact
quick
that
solution, is there?
No, there isn't a solution, and so you can't ban immigration. What you do have is you've got issues in this country.
We've got to ban undesirables, and we're not.
It goes, I mean, the Muslim question is brought up on a regular basis. I can't believe how inundated I'm getting with Muslim and anti-Muslim propaganda at the moment.
Oh, loads of it, isn't there?
It's just absolutely loads of it. And it comes down to, yes, there is a small minority of militant Muslims that are actually doing and saying things that are highly inappropriate. The vast majority of Muslims, of course, are not. And you can't tarnish an entire religion or culture with one brush. We've got to look at it and have a sensible debate about it, and that's just not happening at the moment.
What I find amusing is that, or not amusing, but ironical, is that we talk about Muslim terrorism. When the IRA and the UVF, and there was a UVF man arrested in Newport Pagnell this week, when they were at the height of the Troubles, it wasn't called Christian terrorism, but it's the same thing.
But you did call it... No, let's get fair about that. We didn't call it Christian terrorism, but we did talk about the Catholics and the Protestants.
Exactly, but I mean, just
which is fairly Christian to me. I'm sorry, I think we're playing with words there.
But it's making the point that we don't talk about what the actual terrorists are about. We label them as Muslims, making your point.
Yeah, and we're now actually talking about Sunni Muslim terrorism or various other flavours of Muslim terrorism.
Well, the thing is, it's tribal,
the majority of people in this country 10 years ago didn't realise there were different flavours of Muslim.
Well, that's right.
They really didn't.
And then we got on the same token. Have you seen a story about this Down syndrome guy who was? What are you going to say about this?
That's terrible.
Yeah, Wadi Chowri, 44-year-old man with Down syndrome, who currently lives in Twickenham. They're trying to deport him back to Beirut because he came to the UK in 1997 because his life was in danger from the various gangs operating in Beirut. He was looked after by his parents. He's now looked after by his brother.
His parents died.
His parents have died, so they now want to deport this poor devil. They don't seem to be able to discriminate between who they should deport and those that are actually seriously causing a threat to this country that are allowed to stay.
The humanitarian element of the regulations needs to be managed by people who've actually got a brain, because it would appear that some people in charge simply don't have the common sense that you would expect from a 10-year-old child. You've got to be able to interpret laws to be able to take into account exceptional circumstances, and clearly this is an exceptional circumstances. On pure humanitarian grounds, the guy should be left alone to live out his days.
Oh, I absolutely agree with you, yeah.
Well, and I don't think there are, even the most right-wing racists in this country would actually agree on this particular case. It is so clearly a humanitarian case. I think the BNP would probably support the guy.
Oh, doubtful. But what about this little boy that's going off to who's that? This little boy that's
a canary in the road.
we'll go and shoot it. That'll be against the law or something, probably. This little boy that's is in Spain at the moment. He's adopted from Southampton. Southampton, yeah. I mean, did you think did we not overreact on that particular situation with the?
Absolutely.
Oh, didn't we just? Yes.
I mean, it was.
It's like so many things. It's either one extreme or the other.
Yeah,
there doesn't appear to be a rational way through.
Well, they couldn't have done that child any good whatsoever, what's been going on. I mean, God knows how quickly they must have got to Malaga. They seem to get there pretty quick and they were driving. But what's the hospital plan at? What is their game? They're acting God, aren't they? They're trying to
they're trying to do the best for the kid.
Well, of course they are, but I don't know.
Yeah, well, I think it's the overall the reaction from, the fact that until a Spanish judge had actually sat there and said, yes, the parents can lift the ban, the parents can go and see the child. I mean, all this sort of thing is absolutely ludicrous, ridiculous.
But that's what happens when you have regulations that are absolute. And the trouble is, we go from a situation where British common law applied to having people calling for regulation, and then the regulations don't cover that situation.
No, that's right. We have a big text in this morning, I think, and I'm not sure whether it's appertaining to the show or not. Our researcher is actually reading away there to all this text he's got. I don't know whether it is actually anything to do with the programme or not, is it, Mr. Marion? Is it something to do with the show? Or is it you coming in here and you're doing your own work?
I'm multitasking, Mike.
Oh, you're multitasking.
Yeah, I'm. It's obviously I've got a feminine side because I do have the ability to be able to hold more than one ball in the air at a time.
So you've got two. All right, we will move on. It's 22 minutes past 8 o'clock here in Milton Keynes. You're listening, of course, to the Grumpy Old Men on a Saturday morning.
Come and look out through the window. That big old moon is shining down. Tell me now, don't it remind you of a blanket on the ground? Remember back when love first found us? We'd go slipping out of town, and we'd love beneath the moonlight on a blanket on the ground. I'll get the blanket from the bedroom. We'll go walking once again to that spot down by the river where our sweet love first began. just because we are married don't mean that we can't slip around. So let's walk out through the moonlight and lay the blanket on the ground. So let's walk out through the moonlight and lay the blanket on the ground.
Hi, this is Lisa Lavelle. Join me for Lazy Sundays on Seclo Sounds. I've got music to soothe you, move you and groove you. Sundays at 2 p.m. on Seclo Sounds.
Tom Scudamore is back.
We're back on a new day with new features and new characters.
Every Thursday night at 7 p.m. on Seclo Sounds.
The best time of the day show is a show for young people, combining oddball personalities. We will be having headlines led by Harry, dealing with your problems in agony art, and talking philosophical matters.
Every Thursday at 7 p.m. on Seclo Sounds. MK Flyers Online, the fast and simple way to find any kind of business or service locally. Find us at mkflyersonline.co.uk or download the MK Flyers mobile app from your app store. MK Flyers Online proudly supports Seclo Sounds, community radio for Milton Keynes.
Bringing people and communities together on seclosounds.org.
Back on, lads, we're back on. It's twiddling his
We are
knobs.
indeed as well. Yes, that's right. You see, when you look across at my hands and you can see what I'm doing, there you go.
You
You
don't
see,
wish to know, mate.
No, well, that's it. I have complete and utter power and control over the studio, which is lovely and wonderful.
Megalomania reigns.
28 minutes exactly past 8 o'clock here in Milton Keynes. Very warm welcome if you've only just joined us. We are, of course, the Grumpy Old Men. I'm Mike Barry.
I'm Bob Bluffield.
Brian White.
Alan Mallion.
Who's currently multitasking at the moment. I must
And he's
say.
got man flu.
Yes,
And he's got a film to produce.
Yes, man flu.
A film to produce.
He got out of his sick bed this week to be here.
It's a
very
funny old
impressed.
world. Funny old world. I'm going around Woollen Lake actually later on with one of the lead actors and actresses.
I think he's spreading his germs about this weekend.
Yeah, they're spreading your germs about.
Oh, absolutely.
I think you should have a mask on while you're in the studio.
Well, I think we should have a mask on. Don't worry about him.
Last week he sleeps in.
Yes.
This week he multitasks.
That's right.
Is there no start to this man's talent?
Week before he never made it at all.
But he's a Liberal Democrat, you see, that's why, So,
Yes, we've got many faces. There are many
So
faces.
what's Nick been up to this week?
Two faces,
What's he been up to?
Yeah.
Sorting the world's problem out. Just teaching these pesky Tories how to run a
Well, he can't sort his own.
Well, I thought you were in mass rebellion on the bedroom tax, simply when you could have actually stopped it happening in the first place.
Which is an ironic position to be in. I totally agree with you. The idea and the whole
we've been through that
concept
before. I'm not going to pull your
the
microphone now,
bedroom
but
tax has got to be amongst those stupid taxes.
Let's get rid of him. There we go. You see, he's waffling away in the background there, but that's it. But we do apologise, listener, because we didn't actually give the results of our weigh-in this morning. So
That was coming later, was it?
No, it's coming now.
Okay, right. Michael.
Yes.
You haven't done anything. You
No,
stayed the same.
I stayed the same.
25 stone.
Yes, that's right.
25 stone, 17 pounds.
Thank you very much.
No, you're the
Yes.
same.
Yeah.
I've lost. Hang on, I've lost more now. What am I talking about? I've lost £4.
I don't see how you can.
I can see
Well, I
that
haven't
new-
eaten. I didn't eat yesterday at
that
all.
new youthful.
Yes, I'm under
image.
18 stone now. Alan, you've lost £1, and Brian, you've lost £1.
Oh well, between us we've lost £2.
And Brian's the lightest, at just over 15 stone.
Yeah, well, there you go. You see, we don't have to.
Oh,
We don't have to be
slim
that
figure of a
personal.
man.
It's funny, we go 15, 16, 17, 18. As
Yes,
we go
we
along.
don't
The
have to.
silhouette of a teenager.
And when I started the challenge to lose weight, I was only 14.5 stone.
Yeah, I know. This is the thing, isn't it? I
So
don't
dieting actually puts weight on. That's my theory.
Brian, you can tell us, because I know you mentioned it a couple of weeks ago on the show, because being an insider, you could tell us all about the House of Commons and how they were. But apparently this business, we did mention it before, but the Speaker has introduced, who was it, a clerk to the catering manager as clerk to the Commons. But it does say in this particular article that the fact that at the start of every new parliament, the assembled House re-elects the Speaker. Is this true? Because in which case, why haven't they got rid of Bercow?
Well, it is true, but the tradition is if an existing Speaker is there, they normally carry on. So John is in the process of
farce, is it?
making a number of friends into enemies.
Yeah.
And of course there is a campaign amongst certain groups in the Commons to get rid of him because they.
Mr. Bercow,
and they didn't. A number of Tories from the right wing of the party didn't want him there, and a number of the grandees didn't want him there to start with.
No, that's right. I mean,
the fact that he got Labour support to become Speaker on a cross-party basis has wound him up. So he's always had a number of enemies, but it looks like from reading the papers that he's multiplying them.
So presumably they'll wait until next year, will they, when there's a general election, and then they'll reappoint a Speaker.
What tends to happen is the traditional British way. The men in grey coats come along and say, wouldn't you like to stand down and do the honourable thing, and we'll elect a new Speaker? It's what they did with Michael when they were trying to get rid of him. And it's a question of your time's past, would you like to go to the Lords, please?
Well, this is it, isn't it? They move him up, but it must be one of from
but me. I don't think it should. I think John Bercow, for somebody who he and I used to have slanging matches across the chamber, and he had a go at me, and Betty Boothroyd, when she was Speaker, had to
intervene,
arbitrate between us. But John, I think, is doing a really good job.
Yeah.
But didn't he make a big mistake with Karen Mills? What's all that about?
The problem is that there's a group of people who think you should appoint from within.
Mm-hmm.
He thinks the whole House of Parliament should be modernised. You should bring somebody in from outside. And that's what the fundamental battle is between the traditionalists and the modernisers. And I happen to think John's right. The Parliament should be upgraded and brought into the modern world, because there's too many of these old traditions that are no longer appropriate. But so good luck to John, but he is fighting the establishment, and they are rallying round to stop him doing anything.
So you're sort of in favour of getting rid of the House of Lords, are you, and those sort of traditions?
Well, I always have been a person who didn't see the need for a House of Lords. I wanted to see a single chamber. But if you are going to have a House of Lords, it should be elected.
I absolutely disagree with clearly on that, on the other side of the fence, because I think the House of Lords is a great institution and provides a really good check and balance against these over enthusiastic, elected politicians who think they've got some right to govern the country. I mean, don't they realise that we live in a country where the civil servants run the country?
They've been elected to govern. He goes, well, that's right, the civil servants. Civil servants.
You think intelligent people like MPs would understand how the actual system works. They get elected to be able to be knocked down when something goes wrong, and the civil servants sit there in the background running the country.
Whoever's in power, of course. Yeah.
Yes. You wouldn't want to sort of let just power change hands to hands at the whim of the voters, would you?
So do you think we ought to sort of have an investigation into the civil service?
Well, I did actually do that.
Did you?
I used to sit on the Public Administration Select Committee, which is the select committee that is responsible for the civil service. And every year we used to have the head of the civil service come and justify what was happening in the civil service. And we did a investigation into the way the civil service was structured. And the start of the British civil service, and it's the least corrupt in the world, it originated in the 1840s when a guy called Trevelyan was in charge of Ireland. And there was no famine in Ireland in the 1840s, because there was plenty of wheat. There was potato crop failure. But this guy wouldn't let the wheat be used for food. It had to be exported. So that's why millions died. But he then, along with Lord Northcote, set up the civil service, so instead of the third son of the aristocracy going into the civil service, it was done on merit. And that has actually stood in good stead. But what it meant is that the process is right, but it doesn't focus on outcomes. And that's the fundamental problem with the civil service. It actually gets its process right. It gets the accountability to the Public Accounts Committee right, but it doesn't actually deliver. And that's what it's the way it's designed, and it's still designed like that way.
So it's not very fit for purpose. You do get a history lesson on this show, don't you?
Well, I quite agree with this, but although I'm still in favour of the Lords and the hereditary peers should be allowed to sit in the House of Lords.
All of them or some of them?
No, all of them.
Well, they've got a criminal record.
And I believe they should be allowed to bring their shotguns in and their pheasants and actually park their Range Rovers just in front of the House of Commons.
Do they not do it anyway?
Let's get if you're going to treat them properly, you've got to treat them with the respect they deserve.
There's still about 100 of them.
We're losing too many of our traditions in this country.
I think you're right.
It's...
like tolerance.
Well, no, I think even...
Yeah, that's one that I'm beginning to find...
You're saying it's not tolerant?
Just common courtesies and things like that.
It's just a 5-minute argument.
I mean,
that's right.
It was interesting that one of the common courtesies in Milton Keynes Council, for instance, was reintroduced several years ago by as he was, still is the Labour man, but he was the mayor at the time. He asked if the councillors would stand when the mayor came in, and he said, I don't want for people to stand up for me, but it's standing up for the position of mayor, and it's just showing a bit of respect. Yeah, which is absolutely quite correct and quite should be as well, So.
You just wanted people to stand to attention when you walked in the room, didn't
you?
It's military values.
I tried it in Milton Keynes, as the mayor, in Newport Pagnell, rather, as the mayor, and I said, I want you all to stand up when I come in, but you're already in here, so what do we do?
So they all walked out.
Yeah, that's it. It's 23 minutes away from 9 o'clock here in Milton Keynes. You're listening, of course, to the Grumpy Old Men. And there has been a lot of stories in the papers this week, hasn't there?
Is there?
Well, there's been a lot of stories
in the paper this week.
But how many of them are true?
How many are true? Well, Eddie Mair got into trouble yesterday, didn't he say that Cliff Richard, on air, he said Cliff Richard had been arrested?
Yes, on Radio 4.
Yes, and he's got a slating over this, and then they're calling for him to stand down.
Well, aren't the BBC running the inquiry?
Well, I thought they were.
Yeah, but they clearly run the police.
No, only the South Yorkshire police.
Oh, well, yes, but they're working on the rest.
I was very careful when I was in South Yorkshire this week because I kept a very low profile.
There was a lovely cartoon this week in one of the, I forget which paper it was, which was saying that it had taken them a long time to deal with Cliff Richard and the Rotherham
there was a lot
scandal
of in the background.
And the person said, yes, but they've had, during that time, they were spending most of their time trying to deflect arguments about Hillsborough.
Wow.
Which I thought was a hit both of the scandals.
They've not got a very good track record, South Yorkshire Police, have they, one way or another?
No.
Allegedly.
Well,
not just allegedly, they haven't got a good track record,
they really
full
just don't have a good track record, I agree, yes.
There was apparently in Sheffield this week, the City Council had a major debate about the police commissioner standing down, and it was unanimous that he should stand down. I think it's disgraceful that he won't stand down.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, the way they... I mean...
Not that we should have police commissioners, but that if you have them, he shouldn't be carrying on.
It must be one of the few positions in the country where you can, providing you've been elected, you can't be de-elected unless you commit a criminal offence. Or there are others, aren't there?
And the only
Putty has committed
the only thing he can
perjury. Well, you don't know, do you?
The only thing that police committees that are in existence now can do is to reject the total budget.
Yeah.
They can they've got the nuclear option of rejecting the budget, but no other forms of holding people to account. No. That is totally crazy.
Yeah. So what's the point of the being there?
Although I think...
Well, ask Carswell, because he was one of the architects of it.
Yeah. I think it goes without saying that it's pretty unlikely he's going to be re-elected when it comes up in a couple of years' time. That's right. Another thing that this has hit the papers quite a lot, and I've got mixed feelings over it, really. These jihadi suspects are going to be stripped of their passports, says the Prime Minister. Well,
how are they going to do it?
This seems to be poppycock talk,
I always liken that, go back to the people who went out to the Spanish Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
If that was happening today,
how
would we be treating them?
Yeah, as heroes, wouldn't we?
We'd treat them as heroes. Well, at the time they were slagged off in the Daily Mail, but that goes without saying.
That's right,
But
That's the Daily Mail.
Even
but
then.
they were, after the Second World War, they were treated as heroes, and rightly so. But what would we have done if the Spanish Civil War was happening today and the government's talking about it? We'd be treating them in the same way, wouldn't we?
Well, it's a double-edged sword all the time, isn't it? It depends who it is, doesn't it?
And depends which war it is, whether we're on their side or against them.
That's right, at this moment in time, because they're changing sides all the time, aren't they?
Well, we had the chance to stop this Islamic State in 2012.
How?
Because it involved working with Assad in Syria, we chose not to.
Yeah.
And again, it comes down to the fact that the Foreign Office cannot get its allies right. We always end up that the people we think of as friends become our enemies, and the people we should have dealt with and we treat as enemies are the people we now have to rely on to help us. And until the Foreign Office and the Ministry of Defence get their act together, we're going to continue to be in that situation.
So back in the day when we had a proper empire, we could just send gunboats in there and sort it all out.
Gunboat diplomacy.
Because they were all enemies.
Yeah, but we owned the world, didn't we?
Yeah.
Well, I thought we did.
Well, we did.
Then that Lawrence of Arabia came along and he messed the whole thing up. We started creating allies within the Arab world.
Well, you realise what the British Empire was based on? It was based on drug running.
Yeah.
We used to import opium into China. So, I mean, we were the original rogue nation, but we don't get taught that in our history lessons, Mr. Gove, do we?
Well, and Sir Francis Drake, our original rogue.
Oh, he's the original pirate, wasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
I stayed in a hotel the other day, the town where he was born.
Yeah?
A place called Yarkham, where he lived, in Yarkham. He had his estate near Honiton in Devon, yes. Well, David Travers has been back in court, hasn't he?
Yes.
He's apparently groped a woman on Mrs. Merton's show. Perhaps it was Mrs. Merton.
Is this the retrial for the two?
Yes.
Because he got acquitted on a whole range of charges. In 3, they couldn't make up their minds. So.
He's accused of being an opportunity sex attacker who used his celebrity to assault women at least 20 years his junior, Southwark Crown Court was told. He allegedly grabbed a woman's breasts while she was smoking in a studio complex where programmes, including the Mrs. Merton Room show, were filmed. Yes. So what's going to happen with Mr. Travers? Do you think he's going to go down this time? Do you think he could get...
No, I don't think so. I think again he's...
I just want to get this right. Okay, Dave Lee Travis is being put forward as a sexual opportunist. Now, if you go out to any nightclub tonight in Milton Keynes, do you think any of the lads that are out there could be described as sexual opportunists?
Of course not.
No,
because they're not Dave Lee Travis.
No, you couldn't possibly tar them with that unfair comment. No, so they're obviously, just sitting there politely thinking to themselves as these rather attractive young ladies walk past, no, I'm not going to take any opportunity to be able to speak to any of them.
He was supposed to have squeezed this lady's... Your little lungs, he said. Your poor little lungs. You shouldn't be smoking. Think about your poor little lungs, she claimed, before squeezing her breast for 10 to 15 seconds, the court heard. She complained to the show's producer, "Oh my God, David Lee Travis has just grabbed my tits." And they ended up laughing about the absurdity of the situation, the jury was told. Perhaps it was wishful thinking.
But again, that was the climate at the time.
Of course it was.
And what we're judging, we are judging what the 1970s and 1980s were like by the standards of 2014. And that is just as crazy as if we were judging the standards of the 1930s or 1950s. We're conflating two different things. And that's not to...
moved.
Exactly.
I agree. Yeah, absolutely.
And that's not to say he was right or wrong. That's just to make the point that we're doing judgment on people's actions outside the context in which they took place.
I mean, you watch the television, you watch things like Mad Men or the original Sweeney and things that were acceptable then. I mean, they made films out of it, out of showing the differences between what it was like in the 80s and what it's like in the present day.
Up the junction.
And how the climate has changed. Well, I truly believe that it's changed for the better. I think that that perhaps in the past highly inappropriate behaviour was allowed to continue. But it was allowed at the time.
Yeah, but it was called the Swinging 60s, wasn't it?
It was the Swinging 60s. It was free love. It was great fun.
I don't remember it.
No, I don't either.
I do. It was a lot better than it is now.
I remember odd bits of it, that's for sure. But mainly in flashbacks, but we won't go into that.
I was serving my Queen and Country in the mid-60s.
Oh, so was I. I was serving the Queen in the music industry, and I was enjoying every moment.
Which
of it.
Queen was that then?
It was the Killer Queen.
Oh, the Killer Queen. Right, okay.
I was going to say, yeah. So one or the other or whatever, you know. So anyway, you're listening
But
to
am I
Secular
alone in
Sounds,
thinking that the BBC have a paedophile ring in the BBC and they have a charity called Children in Need?
Well,
putting two and two together and going, duh.
Yeah, I know.
I think one's trying to hide what's going on in the other, isn't it?
Look, I mean, there is no doubt about it. Where there is corruption, it needs to be dealt with. Where there are paedophiles, they've got to be dealt with.
Could you say that, Mrs. Thatcher? What was it she said?
Well, I could swing my handbag if I wanted to.
Yeah,
but,
well, you came out with that line.
But the bottom line is, trying to paint things black and white, all members of the BBC Board of Executives do not encourage paedophilia.
How do you know?
Well, I'm pretty confident about that. And I'm pretty confident that not all policemen are corrupt. And I'm pretty confident that not all civil servants do a bad job. And I'm pretty sure that every banker in the world isn't a totally bad person. There are good and bad in all. And what we've got to do is actually start looking into these grey areas and 50 shades of them.
Alan on his soapbox there.
Yeah, I
the
don't
Lib Dem
know.
party political
I just left his microphone up there. I thought I wasn't even going to take it out. I was just entranced.
Did you see this week where the BBC have appointed their first woman chair of BBC Trust, which is a major step forward?
Yeah. Well, for women, yes. But that's all.
Well, I mean, that's just great because... but I don't think it should be news. I think, okay, so what? It's a woman in charge of the BBC, great.
And that's what it should be in the future, and the fact that it's happened now will mean that is no longer news.
Yeah, but it shouldn't have to be news. The person that gets the job to run the BBC should be the best person for the job, regardless of the race, colour, gender, or any other criteria.
That's what the news was. It wasn't the fact that she was a woman. That isn't what made the news. It was the fact that she was totally a person who was totally competent and capable of doing it.
Yeah,
so
which is good news for all of us. I mean, and long may it be that the best person for a job gets it. I hate these all-female selection lists. They really do wind me up. I suspect I'm not the only one here that feels that.
No, certain person sitting to my right thinks the same. Don't
I actually support them.
It's a nodding donkey over here.
But it means you can't stand for election.
Sometimes
in your hometown.
Well, that's okay, because I actually happen to think that they're not a permanent feature, but as a way of breaking through a glass ceiling, I think it's right. And there's somebody at home now listening to this who's shouting at the radio and saying I'm an idiot. Because my wife thinks totally the opposite. We've had a lot of discussions about it, but I happen to think, and I've always thought, that women-only shortlist is a useful tool to actually break that glass ceiling.
That's typical Labour perspective, isn't it, now? Shoot yourself in the foot. I don't know. Look, you were a good MP. I think the most people in Milton Keynes actually thought you were a great MP.
Well, he was an honest one.
He was an honest one.
That makes him great to start with.
Which is...
even if he is on the other side of what I support.
I actually don't believe that the MPs we've got at the moment are doing too bad a job, actually. But, I think that what we've got to do is have the best person in the job. Just because somebody happens to be male or female should be at the absolute irrelevance. And female-only shortlists are an appalling abomination of democracy.
Sexist.
Absolutely.
I'm going to agree with you there, actually, funnily enough. It's amazing. It's not often I do agree.
I'm surprised they can get away with it.
Well, so am I, really. I mean, the Human Rights Act.
It was challenged in court.
Human Rights Act and all the rest of it, But I mean, we had a silly little thing that 3 or 4 years ago in Newport Pagnell, where they have a strawberry fair every year, and it's been going on for quite a few years. And at the strawberry fair, they elect a town princess, the carnival princess, and the woman actually put her son up for it. And the organisers didn't know what to do.
Was it a cross-dresser?
Well, it was a poor little boy, but it was his mother who was trying to object, the fact that it was sexism because it was only little girls who could be put forward to be the princess. Now,
Poor lad, I felt a bit sorry for him.
Well, I wouldn't like my mum if she'd have put me in for a princess thing.
She wouldn't be very
or a
popular
queen,
with me
no.
either.
No. I
I
don't mind cross-dressing, that's quite good fun.
That's taking things a bit far, isn't it?
Well, it is.
Well, I think I bet all credit to the organisers. They went, okay. They just went, okay, fine, he can be in.
Did he win?
No.
And he had a great time. He was the only lad in there with all those princesses, and he had just a great time.
Yeah, but he was only
Back to the
5.
60s, was it?
He was only 5 or 6.
Well, nevertheless,
it'd be in the papers in 10 years' time.
They were running around, and they just had a great time, and that's just fine. But the principle is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, that mother should have been put up for some sort of child cruelty or something. It's like calling your boy Sue, isn't it? A boy named Sue.
A boy named Sue.
I was going to play that.
Well, in Hong Kong, I think we said this before, in Hong Kong, a lot of the people there adopt Western names. But they don't always realise that the girl's name's a bloke might have adopted is a woman's name. I mean, in the hotel I used to stay at, there was a waiter called Gladys, and it was a bloke. And he didn't realise it was a girl's name. He wasn't gay or anything. He just assumed that was a good name to take.
What was John Wayne's name?
Sorry?
What was John Wayne's name? It was something...
Marilyn, wasn't it? Marilyn
That's
something.
right, that's right. Yeah. Anyway, you're listening to Community Radio Milton Keynes, Secular Sounds. It's 8 minutes away, actually, from 9 o'clock.
8 minutes away from 9 o'clock?
8 minutes away
it's
from...
kettle time.
It is really kettle time, almost, yes. A very warm welcome. If you've only just joined us, thank you very much. We're looking forward to your company. And we will continue.
Plain Talking with Mick Bannister, Thursdays at 8 p.m. on Seclo Sounds. Check in for an hour of scintillating chat and music with Mick Bannister and his guests from the world of film and literature. He'll be talking about their achievements and inspiration and finding out about the books and music that accompany them on their travels around the world. Get to know the person behind the headlines. Catch Plain Talking with Mick Bannister, Thursdays at 8 p.m. here on Seclo Sounds.
Synthetic soundscapes.
This is DJ Works. Each week, I will be presenting Synthetic Soundscapes, taking you on a journey through all genres of electronic music. The show will feature music from the archives, listener requests, interviews with producers and DJs, exclusive DJ mixes and new tracks. Join me Sunday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. on Seclo Sounds.
Synthetic soundscapes.
MK Pulse proudly sponsors Seclo Sounds. MK Pulse is Milton Keynes' local magazine, bringing helpful information on food, health, fashion, money, travel, culture, and much more to 66,000 readers every month. Plus news, views, and what's on from around the city. If it's happening in Milton Keynes, it's in MK Pulse, and it's available online at www.mkpulse.co.uk. MK Pulse and Seclo Sounds, the heart and soul of the city.
Bringing people and communities together on seclosounds.org.
Dance with me, dance with me, dance with me, dance with me, dance with me. Oh, hold me closer. Closer and closer, much closer, while the music plays. My little darling, won't you dance with me? Oh, hold me tighter, tighter and tighter, much tighter, while the rhythm sways. Put your lips to mine, while the music blends. We're no longer strangers, now we're more than friends. So dance with me closer, closer and closer, and maybe we'll be lovers when the music ends. Whoa. with me closer, closer and closer, and maybe we'll be lovers when the music ends. Darling, won't you please? Oh, darling, won't you please? Oh, darling, won't you please?
That's the Drifters, of course, and Dance With Me here on Seclo Sounds Community Radio for Milton Keynes.
Dance with you, Michael?
Yes, if
I danced with you yesterday.
You did dance with me yesterday, didn't you? And that was lovely, wasn't it? We
Dancing with the Demons, eh?
We really enjoyed it, didn't we?
We did.
Interesting point that Alan brought up on the show last week, which intrigued me somewhat, and I went away and thought about it, because as we all know, from the 1st of October, you won't be issued with a tax disc for your vehicle, so he reckoned that you could clone it very simply, because the thing is, if you go on to the DVLA website and just put in a car registration number, it will tell you whether that car is MOT'd and taxed and insured.
Will it tell us that?
It tells you that, yes. You can actually go on anybody's car. Yeah, we will get Alan in a moment to sort of put in a registration.
It's when you're buying cars and things like that.
Yeah. And the thing is that Alan's point was that we would, you would go onto the website, get a car number, clone it, then go away and get the plates made up. And I know if you ever tried to get number plates made up, you have to take along, your date of birth and goodness knows what else. But there are dodgy people who will make up car number plates. So there's no problem there. You can get your dodgy number plate. And I thought, well, that's very strange, because that is a loophole that really needs to be closed, because otherwise people will be driving around and they'll be using false number plates to get away with the fact of going past all these police vehicles with the APNR or whatever it's called, the number plate recognition things, and then of course the police will go after them because they've got no tax. But the whole point is that this information that you get from the DVLA site will tell you today that a car is MOT'd and taxed and insured, but it doesn't tell you when it's going to expire.
No, indeed.
So, in fact, actually, that isn't going to work. Alan, we were talking about the facts of the tax disc, and you mentioned that people would clone other cars, but there is no point in it, because the thing is, although you will get the information today that a vehicle is taxed, MOT'd and insured, it doesn't tell you when it's going to expire. So I might clone your number plate today, thinking, I'm going to get away with this, but in fact your insurance runs out tomorrow, so I'm going to get stopped if I use your number.
But let's be sensible. You pick on somebody that looks respectable, that looks like they might actually tax and insure their car.
Like me, yes.
Yes.
But you're not going to
If
know.
I've got the same type of vehicle.
I drive a similar sort of vehicle to you, Mike. I'd put your number plate on it and I could drive with impunity for the rest of my days, because you would never consider driving your car without tax and insurance, would you?
That's a very good point, actually, isn't it?
No.
Yeah. Well, of course, any criminal worthy sort has worked that one out.
Yeah.
I mean, when you used to have a tax disc, you had something that was a little bit difficult to copy. I mean, they did make fraudulent copies of it.
It took a bit of effort, didn't it?
Took a bit of effort. Now, all you've got to do is have a number plate that's very similar to a car, but similar to yours, and your chances of getting pulled, because it's all done by computer, are almost zero.
Really?
Yes,
they're not
really.
going to know if that's you or Mike driving that vehicle,
No,
are they?
they're not going to know. And if they see you with Mike's
nice
car, they're not going
number
to put you over. They're going to go, "Oh, that's Mike Barry.
Yeah.
He's as good as gold. He's always got his tax and insurance. He's a nice, respectable member of the community.
Until
Upstanding."
one day.
Oh, when he forgets his MOT and becomes a criminal. That day will come one day, though, because Murphy's Law determines that if it can happen, it will happen. And it's going to happen to Mike Barry.
That's the
when
trouble with
he least
Murphy's Law,
expects it.
actually, yeah. I mean, I'm due to be pulled by the old Bill. Because regularly I get pulled about every sort of 7-8 years for some reason or another. Yeah. And it's normally when I'm coming out of pubs,
What have you done? Because I never get pulled.
Oh, I don't know.
He says now, as he leaves his studio.
Yes, that's right. They'll be outside
That's
waiting.
because you
for
went
them.
through South Yorkshire carefully.
The biggest problem is when you get a game of Snap actually happening and the car that you've cloned pulls up at the traffic lights beside you. and an observant policeman might just start scratching his head at that point. But which one will he chase if you turn in different directions?
I did get stopped once having a wrong number plate on a Rolls Royce, believe it or not. We used to have a Rolls Royce for a wedding car, And when they transferred the registration, I didn't deal with the transfer of it, but it was done wrongly. And our Rolls Royce was registered to a minivan in Bournemouth. And instead of being STK 45, which we had on the car, it should have been STK 30. And I got pulled for that because two wily coppers thought, I'll see who's driving that roller. And it came up with the wrong registration, and I got pulled for it. I didn't get done for it, but I got to tick it off because I did actually know about it. In fact, I did have the new plates in the car; it just hadn't been put on.
Oh, so you're a criminal, aren't you?
I could have been. I could have, not knowingly at the time.
What do you mean, not knowingly? You
Well,
must have known.
I didn't until that particular night. Well, a day before, possibly.
Yeah?
We've been driving the car for a number of months with the wrong registration, not realising it.
Oh, that's terrible.
Because it's a DVLC mix-up.
Oh, so it's the DVL.
It was initially. Yeah.
Not yours.
No.
Not yours at all.
No. It certainly wasn't mine because I didn't get involved in it. I just drove it.
Yes. Yeah, but it's the driver.
Honestly, Governor, it wasn't me.
Yeah, we'll let you
I
off.
think that's a 20-year sentence, don't you?
Well, we'll let him off on this occasion.
Well, it will be in South Yorkshire.
Yeah. What about, did anybody go down to Folkestone last week to dig in the sound?
What for?
30 gold bars.
Gold bars, yeah.
I didn't know anything about that. What's that about?
Where did you live?
Well, I've been away, Michael. I've been away.
What, inside?
Well, could have been. No, I've been driving the motorways of the UK. The highways and byways.
Silly idea, good idea, I don't know.
What tell me the story?
Well, it's an artist who decided that he would make life living art, as it were. So
installation art, I believe.
It was some kind of festival in Folkestone, and as part of the festival, he planted on the beach. Was it 30 gold bars?
Yeah,
worth about 500 quid each.
Yeah.
And if you found them, you kept it.
Yeah. And where did the money come for this?
Well,
he put it up himself.
He did it himself.
Oh.
And apparently there was lots of metal detectorists out searching, but there was also a lot of iron and nuts and bolts and things like that, so that it wasn't simply just a question of finding the...
Did he get permission to do this?
I think it was part of the town festival, but I don't know.
I think it was an absolutely excellent stunt.
Yeah.
I mean,
Give Folkestone a bit of publicity.
I mean, Folkestone would never have got the publicity it did if that stunt hadn't occurred. So an excellent, well done.
Well, did Folkestone die when they stopped across Channel Ferries from there?
It died long before that.
Did it?
Yeah,
not a lot happens in Folkestone.
It's not one of the happiest seaside towns.
I remember putting a computer system into Folkestone in the 1970s, and it was dead then.
Yeah, I went down there one day in November. It was the hottest day of the year there, believe it or not.
Yeah, I've been down there and it's been closed.
Closed, yeah.
They just closed it.
They closed it, yeah.
It was actually quite a warm day and it was just closed.
Due to lack of interest?
I think it's just one of those places where you go not to retire, but
to die.
You're going to die.
Yeah.
And it does suffer from having Dover next door, so...
Talking about dying and getting old and all those sort of things, and I know that we're all, apart from Alan, because he's still young, but he's not going to get his pension at all yet, but the European red tape apparently is costing retired Britons thousands of pounds each in pension payouts. Because apparently those retiring since 2012 are getting around 20% less from an annual annuity than those outside Europe because of EU regulations. Tell me more about this one, Brian.
Which paper is that?
This is the Daily Express, actually.
So what's the source?
Well, the source is a gentleman called Nathan Rao, and he's saying that there's similar rules in the United States, but they're not...
Let me get this straight. There's a by-election happening in which there's a UKIP candidate, and the Daily Express are putting anti-EU stories out, like the kettle story they did, which wasn't actually based on fact. And so headlines about the EU in the middle of a by-election, and we're supposed to believe them?
Well, of course, we've got to believe what's in the paper, haven't we?
What paper is this? The Daily Express?
This is the Daily Express.
The Daily Express is a Bible of honesty.
It is.
It is a paragon of wonderful journalistic
integrity.
Integrity.
Like the Daily Mail.
Yep, and the Daily Mail, there is no bias in that paper whatsoever. You always find that balanced view.
And of course, the Sun doesn't have readers; they just have voyeurs, don't they?
Yeah, and long may that tradition of British publishing continue.
Well, it's like that kettle. It's like that kettle story in the Express this week.
Which story?
The kettles. the EU were going to ban
Oh,
kettles.
yes.
Now, if you actually look at what that actually was, Ofgem have said that next winter, 2015, there are real dangers of power cuts in the UK next winter peak.
Yes, we're already being warned, aren't
And
we?
it might even be this winter. The EU set out and said to consultants, let's look at some of the energy efficiency saving matters that domestic appliances could use. And can we actually make energy efficiency there? And they reckon that it was equivalent, and I may get my decimal point in the wrong, it's either 13 million or 130 million people there's equivalent of energy use that you could actually save if you got your domestic appliances to be much more energy efficient. So they said, do a consultation, see what the options are, and that turned into the EU was going to ban your kettle. Now, when you actually look at the sensible suggestion they had, let's look at how we can save energy, turning into EU is going to ban British kettles.
Well, British kettles are a major problem for the
but
energy generators.
that makes a good story, though, doesn't it? You know, And
Never
the
mind the facts.
The fact is that, I mean, this is what again annoys me intensely, and that is if you want to boil a cup of water to make a cup of tea, the cheapest and most economical way to do it is to put it in the microwave. Because the microwave will actually, for a cup of tea, a cup of hot water, boiling water, is cheaper than using an electric kettle.
Well, how many people do that?
Well, how many people do that?
But how many people fill the kettle out to make one cup of tea?
I'm intensely going on my wife about that one.
But kettles are a major problem for the generating companies, for the energy companies, because at the end of a good film, 100,000 people all flick on their kettle at 2 kilowatts a go. And you're starting to look at terawatts of electricity being required for.
And that's why the
demand.
combined heat and power station in central Milton Keynes is on standby to provide the energy that's needed for when that peak surge happens.
Yeah, but they know it, don't they? I mean,
and they plan for it. And if you ever go to the National Grid, and I had the privilege of actually going around National Grid, and the systems they've got there, and the predictions and the control they have of bringing power on as the EastEnders theme tune starts, and they do it in that 30 seconds.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing when you see the just in time way they control energy, and it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
But if we could get people to stagger their use of the kettle, we could save ourselves an entire power station.
Several power stations.
Probably right.
So the EU wanting to do some legislation around kettles is not completely barking as a concept, but what they've got to do is actually replace kettles.
It wasn't just kettles.
But
It's vacuum cleaners, hair dryers.
But if you replace kettles with the constant hot water taps that you're seeing more prevalent in kitchens now, where they maintain a certain amount of water at a high temperature so that you don't get those surges of power, then the overall requirement for electricity will actually go down.
Yeah. But next they'll be attacking radio stations for using transmitters and equipment.
You never know about that, do you?
And all the hot air we generate.
Well,
that's true. Yeah, but we're helping.
This hot air can be regenerated and recycled and used to heat Milton Keynes Hospital if we actually got it right. A little bit of ducting across the road there.
We need a bit more hot air then.
That's it.
Again, I know it's only the newspapers, and sometimes we can't and shouldn't believe what the newspapers say. But
what are you saying, Mike?
It's just
Mike. I'm appalled that you could actually suggest for one moment that every word you read in the newspapers isn't true.
Well, I think because this is here, it tells me here that consumers are paying 3 times more for their gas than the energy firms do themselves. So we're paying 3 times more than the gas or
Why does that surprise you?
Hang on a second, Mike. You're saying that a company buys something at a lower price and sells it for a higher price.
Yeah, I mean
and makes a profit.
Yes, I mean they
Whatever
shouldn't.
next.
Isn't that the whole basis of capitalism?
I'm shocked.
Yes, but not to that extent because they're ripping us off, aren't they? They just.
Well, we've all known that, haven't we?
I mean,
and they tell Porky Pies.
very
when the
naive.
government says,
It's
"I
all
tell you what we'll
porkies.
do, we'll privatise electricity so that private companies can supply it for us." Of course, they wouldn't have. They wouldn't have realised at the time that those companies might want to make a profit, I suppose. So you can understand why they made that mistake. But perhaps with the benefit of hindsight, they might realise that actually privatising electricity, water, and the rails was not actually the best idea this country's ever had.
I totally agree with you.
There was a very interesting analysis that went on about some of the problems of antisocial behaviour and the issues of communities, and a lot of it was down to how do you define Britishness, and a lot of the argument was that when their parents were growing up, you had British Steel, you had British Rail, everybody bought into this notion of Britishness. Now there is no such thing as British companies, so they tend to...
That's right, they've all been sold, haven't they, to abroad.
So they tend to be very much fragmented, and there was a whole social theory... I'm not saying it's right, I'm just saying that theory's been put forward by social scientists.
Let's examine that theory a little bit. So we used to have British Aerospace and British Airways, and now we've got EasyJet. So... You know,
British Airports Authority is owned by the Spanish.
Case proven.
Does that mean we have a sort of an easier going society as a result of the change in names of the aircraft industry?
No, and the point is that
now we used to have British Rail. Now we've got Virgin Rail. Now I don't know.
I can see where you're going.
I've got no idea what effect that's having on the travelling public. But I can see that there might be some correlation in the lack of Britishness and the addition of other names in the transport industry.
It was actually, the article was very much about the Scottish referendum and about how Scotland changed, but it was making the point that there is no collective adherence to a British concept.
Now,
Scottish referendum.
Are you going to join the Hadrian's Wall rebuilding volunteers?
Yeah, we may not be talking about Scotland in another 2 weeks.
Yeah, well,
I think you're going to be sadly disappointed and Scotland's going to vote to stay with the UK.
Oh, I sincerely hope they do. In all seriousness, I think it would be a great loss to Scotland.
Crazy
not having
what
England,
will happen to King
and I think
then?
it'd be a great loss to England not having Scotland. I think we are better together.
But one of the great ironies is when Scotland and England were joining the Union, it was the result of a worldwide banking collapse. And now we're having the referendum, and there's a worldwide banking collapse just before it. Times don't change, do they?
They don't.
But I do believe that Mr. Salmon is trying to run 24/7 copies of Braveheart on Scottish television now for the next couple of weeks.
I wonder what's going to happen to him. What will happen to him when he loses?
Well, like all salmons, he will go off to spawn.
Yes.
Oh. But we have evidence.
Not.
But you do have evidence of what happens in the party of Quebec. And in Quebec, when the nationalists there lost referendum after referendum, they suffer a temporary loss of popularity. They go out of government, and then 20 years later they come back and fight the same battle.
Right.
Well, I do hope that Scotland, if you can hear me up there, any Scottish listeners, please stay part of the United Kingdom. We like you. We're a band of brothers.
We are indeed, yes, even if Glasgow Celtic are a load of whatever.
And perhaps we'll remove the sixth...
And you might even be able to sort of improve your footballing skills as a result of being part of the United Kingdom.
Well, we should have a United Kingdom football team.
Absolutely.
And perhaps we'll remove the sixth verse of the national anthem.
Yes.
What does that say?
Which salutes General Wade and those Scots to crush.
Yep.
It's all about ethnic cleansing.
I come in here for a history lesson every Saturday, and since Brian's been here, it's wonderful, isn't it?
But it was written in the aftermath of the 1715 rebellion, and it was all about crushing the Scots.
Well, I don't think that...
I don't think it's appropriate now, though, is it?
If that is part of the national anthem, which I hadn't realised, then it should be dropped with an immediate
This
effect.
is probably what started all this, isn't it? This is why they want to go independent.
Yeah.
Because of the national anthem. Now we're finding the truth.
It's very few people, well, I don't say very few, because there's quite a lot of people in Scotland want to go independent, but I think hopefully there's more people want to stay in and with the UK. 15 minutes past 9 o'clock here in Milton Keynes. You're listening to Seclo Sounds, community radio for Milton Keynes, with the Grumpy Old Men. I'm Mike Barry.
Bob Bluffield.
I'm Brian White.
Alan Mallion.
And there we go. That's Grumpy Old Men on a Saturday morning. If you'd like to join in with us at all, then send us an email to radio@seclosounds.org, seclosounds.org. If you'd like to become involved with the community radio station, we would be more than willing to have a chat with you. So again,
certainly would.
Just let us know what you're interested in and we'll take it from there. Do you know that 1 in 4 primary aged children have better handwriting than their parents. Adults, over-reliant on emails, text and social media, are being left behind when it comes to legibility, shows a study by office supply stores Staples.
Staples?
Experts
Still
say
correct,
that the findings dispel the myth that today's touchscreen generation of children have given up the art of handwriting. Now, I actually came across a little notebook of mine the other day, fun enough, from a meeting that I'd held here in Interaction in this particular building, but it was only about 5 years ago, and I couldn't really read my writing, and when I did understand, or when I could read it, I didn't understand what my notes meant. So
my writing's not as good as it used to be because you don't write that often, but I don't agree with that kids' writing's better than adults, because my stepson's writing looks like a 5-year-old's. It's shocking. And I've seen several people of his age group that is much the same.
The thing is, none of us do writing.
My writing's terrible, and always has been.
Is it?
Yeah.
And yet, when I was at school, my particular school, we were taught to write. We had italic pens. You know, it was pen and ink, and it was italic, and you had to write in italics.
I thought it was a quill pen when you was at school, Mike.
No. We just moved on from there. Actually,
I was lucky. We didn't have to. We were the first year that didn't have to use fountain pens.
Oh, fountain pens are fabulous until they blob all over your page.
Exactly, that's what I'm doing.
Well, and they're very good for flicking ink.
Oh, weren't they just?
I mean, those ballpoints, you just couldn't flick them anywhere.
But they're much better to write with.
Except when you go on a plane, leave it in your pocket, they all flood out, don't they?
Oh, because of the pressure, yeah.
What about, did you have those inkwells at school, Mike? And they used to get the old blotting paper and dip it in, and they used to chuck them about, didn't they?
But I was thinking the other day that when I was at school, I used to hate learning how to précis. And I could never think of a single use why I would want to précis something.
Oh, God,
now I tweet all the time.
Yeah.
It's invaluable, going back to when I had to learn all those things about pressing.
That's because tweeting you're only allowed 240.
140.
140, yeah. That's not very much, is it, really?
So,
I'm a big tweeter. I Twitter a lot when Arsenal play. I've got quite a following. I've got about 730 odd people.
Well, you all have our crosses to bear.
Well,
if you do support South London teams, you will that.
Well, but you see, it's often more interesting than watching the game.
Oh, if Arsenal's playing, I've got to agree with you there. You know?
Yes, we just bought Danny Welbeck.
Who's he?
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
And do you that team Manchester United team that played the MK Dons a couple of weeks ago? A third of the team that came to Milton Keynes has now left Old Trafford.
Have they?
Yeah.
Blimey.
Have they really?
Yeah, not of the whole players at United, but a third of the team that they brought to MK are out the door.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm not surprised, really. I mean, if I was the manager, I'd have got rid of all of them. Never mind about a third of them, you know. I mean, that was ridiculous, isn't it, to come down to Milton Keynes and play it. They must.
But they were international. I mean, they were.
I know they were. Yeah, I know. I mean, it says a lot for the Dons, you know, but it's interesting because
Well, in 10 years' time, when the Dons are actually in the Premier Division and they're playing Manchester United on a regular basis, I'm hoping that we can repeat this score on the 10th anniversary and we give them another good pasting, and I think it's wonderful, and I'm delighted for the MK Dons.
Absolutely, yeah.
That stadium was rocking.
Everybody is.
I wish I'd have been there.
Yeah, everybody is, you know, but I wish I'd have been there. Actually.
Well, I taped it to watch, you see, and then, of course, the news was on, and of course it came up on the news, didn't it, the score. It ruined it for me, really, but I still watched it.
Was it a good match? I'm not a great fan of football.
Yeah, it was.
You know, it wasn't that they were just so bad.
No, but the whole atmosphere there that night was amazing. And United first 15 minutes, you could see the class difference. The United were...
That's right.
About 5 classes better than the Dons. Then they made a mistake and the Dons scored. And after that, they were on a par.
It gives you the enthusiasm, the drive to do better, doesn't it? And it's amazing. It just lifted the whole...
But I suppose at the end of the day, they're all good footballers.
But the whole atmosphere in that stadium was what the stadium was built for.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, there's a lovely phrase was Pete built it, they came, we won.
Yep.
Yeah, the stadium that Pete built.
He's a lovely guy. I was talking to his oppo, Lee Scrivens, yesterday. And
he was at your launch of your film.
Yeah, he was at the launch of the film. And the Dons have very kindly offered us a number of facilities down at the stadium for us to use. We need a police station as one of the props in the film, and they've got their own police station at the ground, which they're going to let us use for filming. Which I think
we're back on the film again, Mike.
I know. I'm just sitting here listening to this, and I'm actually just. Obviously, my invitation to star in this is still in the post.
Yeah, mine.
I'm sorry about that, gentlemen.
It's obviously not good enough. You know?
We're quite good as thespians, aren't we? Hello, he's listening.
Hello.
It's our Budgie back again.
Wow. It all comes down to the person that got to launch it.
Well, who launched it? Oh, you launched it, didn't you? Oh, I see. Good luck.
So we're up against two of them this morning,
yeah.
right?
Well, yeah. Was this yesterday then?
Thursday.
You see, we didn't even get an invite to come to it. You know,
I think that's you and I out of here, Alan.
Yeah, this is absolutely disgusting. And I mean, I think words fail me really. In fact, I'm gonna do this.
MK Flyers Online, the fast and simple way to find any kind of business or service locally. Find us at mkflyersonline.co.uk or download the MK Flyers mobile app from your app store. MK Flyers Online proudly supports Seclo Sounds, community radio for Milton Keynes.
Join me, Gary Fitz, every Monday night, 10 o'clock.
Leading the fight, one man fate has made indestructible. His name?
Gary Fitz here.
Please note, this show may be repeated on Saturday, 10 till 12. Thank you.
This is Seclo Sounds, and you can listen to us by clicking Listen Live on our homepage at seclosounds.org for a choice of players. Via TuneIn Radio at www.tunein.com, search for Seclo Sounds and listen online or download the TuneIn app. You can download the Seclo Sounds iPhone app from the iTunes App Store, and you can listen to us on demand at our replay page. Seclo Sounds, bringing people and communities together.
Thank you. Gonna be a good one. Well, I've been walking these streets so long, just singing the same old songs. Why, I know every crack in the dirty sidewalks of Broadway. Where hustle's the name of the games, and nice guys get washed away like the snow and the rain. And don't you know there's been a load of compromising on the road to my horizon? But you see, I wanna be where the light is shining on me, good Lord, like them rhinestone cowboys, yeah, riding out on a horse in a star-spangled rodeo. The rhinestone cowboys, getting cards and letters from people I don't even know. Yes, and offers coming over the phone. You happy on this side? I really don't mind the rain, and a smile can hide all the pain. But you're down when you're riding that train that is taking the long way. But you can dream of the things you'll do with a subway token or a dollar tucked inside your shoes. Don't you know there is a load of compromising on any road to your horizon? So just why not be where the light is shining on me, like them rhinestone cowboys, yeah, riding out on a horse in a star-spangled rodeo. The rhinestone cowboys, getting caught
live version, of course, of a Rhinestone Cowboy. And there's nothing like a Rhinestone Cowboy, is there? So you've had a request, Mr. Manning, have you?
Yeah, I've had a request for a song called The Gambler by Kenny Rogers.
But we're not a request show.
Well, we could find it.
We could, but I've got a Gambler, but I haven't got it here.
Well, let me have a look and see
we'll
what
play
I
it
can
next
find.
week then.
I'll find it. We'll see what we can find it,
And who's that for?
26. That's for Lynn, isn't it?
No, that's not. That's for Dave, and he'd like it for Alex and Sarah.
Right, okay. The Gambler.
The Gambler. We can see if we can have a look around for that.
I've got the Gambler.
Okay.
Yes, I've got it. But not here.
You say you are a gambler?
No. No, I have been. Well, no, not big time. Only when I've been to Vegas and places.
I came out of Vegas with $100.
So did I. Funny enough. Yeah, so did I.
Yeah?
What, 100 up, you mean?
100 up, yeah.
Yeah, I won about $200 in...
Did you?
In
I was on the same time as
Well, that's the big spenders we are.
Got me on a helicopter ride, actually, so there we go.
That.
Right.
Go on, then, what's your next story, Mike?
Well, cleaning the oven. No, thanks. No, because they're all chores that all of us hate. Because apparently we might be a house-proud nation, but 2/3 of us would rather not have to clean the oven. Ironing is hated by 47%, and cleaning the loo is a no-no for 40%.
Something to be doing here.
Excuse me, we won't go into that too much, will we? But online home cleaning service housekeep.com asked 1,000 people which chores that they like the least. Well, it found that the battle of the sexes is alive and well, with women doing the majority of indoor jobs, and so they should, such as the washing up, cleaning lavatories and bathrooms and sweeping floors. Men are 5 times more likely not to do any cleaning at all. But we weren't put on earth to do cleaning, were we? I mean,
no, but when I do it very methodically, and I'm.
Oh, you're a pain, aren't you?
Yeah, I have to have any. When I clean the car, it's got to be right.
When I
speck of dirt inside it.
My wife has actually stopped me helping her in the house. She moans at me because I don't help her. But when I do help her, she says, "No, you haven't done it right."
Yeah, but so this is the thing. This is the ploy. If you don't do it right, you don't get asked to do it again.
Well,
or should I say, told to do it?
That's wrong. Or told to do it. That's right. But the thing is that I do it. I mean, it's this business of cobwebs. Cobwebs are nice. They're nature's way of letting spiders feed.
Well, they're getting bigger, aren't they? There was a thing on the web I read yesterday. Some people reckon that they're getting a lot bigger this year.
I refelted a garden shed a couple of days ago, and some of the big spiders that were wandering around there,
they rear up at you, don't they?
Fighting the life out of me.
I know, they rear up on their hind legs. And,
There's people who've got real phobias about spiders.
I hate spiders. I don't like. I'll pick them up if they're dead with my bare hands, but I
Oh no! You don't pull your legs off, do they?
No, they fall off.
Oh, okay. Because that's horrible, isn't it?
They fall off if you.
We're getting the old daddy longlegs. They'll be out soon, won't they?
I've got a pet grasshopper. It sits under my canopy on my swing seat, and it's been there ages. I don't know what it lives on.
It's probably dead.
No, it's not. It moves. It walks about. I've lost it a few times, but it always comes back. It sits there.
It always comes back.
Yeah. What are you doing, Alan?
He's looking to see where he can plug something in, aren't you, Alan?
Alan's lost his plug.
I'm doing good.
Yeah.
New heart drugs will cut deaths by a fifth, they're saying. A remarkable new drug that outperforms the best treatments currently available should become the first choice for patients with heart failure, according to research. Also, if you had heart failure, you were gone anyway. Clinical trials were stopped early because of the promise shown by the new medication. Research on more than 8,000 patients found that the experimental drug saved 20% more lives than existing gold standard treatments. Experts in Barcelona for European Cardiology Society Congress said the new compound, LCZ696, was a major advance in the treatment of a terrible problem. How about that? So this is good news, isn't it, surely? The study of 8,442 patients with heart failure saw participants given either current conventional treatment or the new drug. In total, 21.8% of patients given the novel treatment, which is yet to be licensed for use, died from cardiovascular causes, compared to 26.5% of those given enalapril.
Yeah?
Yeah, so there we go. We could be saving a lot more people with hearts.
Again, one of the issues is, when you've got an organisation like NICE, how quickly are they going to get that drug into the system?
NICE are not so nice, are they?
If you look at the guy who's just recovered from Ebola, who was given that experimental drug.
Mm.
Again, how quickly can you get that drug safely into use?
Yes.
And that's a real big challenge
So
for the health services.
what are your opinions of NICE?
I think it's given that the system that existed before that was that the Secretary of State for Health made the decision, I think having an organisation like NICE is one of the...
it's nice.
It's nice, but it is a good way that you have experts doing it rather than a politician doing it.
Yeah, it's an awful lot of stick, though, isn't it?
Well, it always will, because it
people like the Patients Association. And,
but it will do, because it's actually making difficult decisions. Whatever decision it makes is going to be controversial.
Yeah.
That one will actually lead into there, so it won't be any good to
So somebody's built a house, is building a house in the Cotswolds. Food artist Miss Cakehead.
Is that a real name?
I don't know. Is making 3 wigwams entirely out of twiglets to celebrate 85 years since the salty snack was created by Joe J. Rondarling in Bermondsey in 1929. Some 1.7 million twiglets, that's 1.5 tonnes, will be needed to build the twigwams at Jamie Oliver's The Big Festival this weekend.
Big festival, yeah. That's...
I think the Big Food Festival at Olney is a much better place to go.
It is, yes. And that's on
today
and tomorrow, yeah.
Oh,
Last year...
We've got people for dinner tonight. We're having friends for dinner.
Oh, yeah?
Said Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah.
A friend round for dinner.
Right, so if anybody wants to go to a good event today, go out to Olney and enjoy the Big Food Festival.
Today and tomorrow, in fact, 2 days. On 2 days, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
No, I didn't know.
Unfortunately, well, if you want something nice to go to this afternoon as well, you can go to the horticultural show in Newport Pagnell. That starts at 2 o'clock this afternoon, I think.
Got no time for it to be housekeeping.
And the mayor will be there as well, so you can go and shake hands with the mayor,
Mayor of Newport Pagnell.
Yeah, we could come in here and shake hands with the mayor.
Yes, I know. You leave my hands alone, thank you. So there we go. And it looks like, Derek Eastman is going to be the next mayor of Milton Keynes, isn't it? Yes.
Yeah, we're going to talk about this.
It's a good guy. He's a good guy, Derek Eastman.
He's a good guy. So we'll leave it at that. We will leave it at that. You're listening, of course, to Secular Sounds, community radio for Milton Keynes. It's the Grumpy Old Men on a Saturday morning. I'm Mike Barry.
I'm Bob Bluffield.
I'm Brian White.
I'm Alan Mallion.
So there we go. That's we are the Grumpy Old Men. And maybe if you've got something that you would like us to grump about, then just let us know. radio@secularsounds.org, and we can grump about it there to our heart's content. The Gambler will have to wait until next week, unfortunately, because we've got it, have we?
Well, that's what he's been trying to do, is it? Fiddling about. A naked man on the train tracks is believed to have been responsible for rail delays on a couple of weeks ago. In the area, did you know that?
Well, sorry, what did you say?
A naked man on the train tracks is believed to have been responsible for rail delays a couple of weeks ago. This is the story. Virgin Train services were heading north from London to Manchester when a naked man was reported as being on the line close to Milton Keynes and Bletchley, and a number of services had to be slowed while police unsuccessfully searched for him.
Oh,
how about that?
That's like the 2 old ladies on the beach and a naked man ran past them.
What's that then?
Well, one had a stroke and the other couldn't reach.
Yes. That is just so bad, right?
Well, it is, but isn't it?
This is a children's show.
Is that celebrating its 100th anniversary?
What's that?
A joke.
Yes, it is one of the older type jokes. But there we go. So we haven't run out of things to be moaning about, have we? We surely can't at all.
Did you know that British drivers supposedly have more fun in France, Mange 2, millions of people prefer driving in France rather than Britain because of the lack of potholes, speed cameras, congestion and high petrol prices, according to the RAC. Despite having to drive on the wrong side of the road, navigate toll booths and avoid the zealous traffic police, France is seen as a more pleasurable driving destination than Britain. 1 in 5 people said it was nice to be able to drive faster. Up to 4.2 million Brits will drive abroad this year, with France the most popular destination, according to RAC's annual driving abroad. Yeah.
But I mean, you've got to remember, France is twice the size of Britain,
exactly,
and therefore
3 times the size.
Is it 3 times the size? And therefore has more space in which to drive rather than the towns in Britain which tend to get cramped.
But it costs a lot as well
on a
to
drive
drive.
down to Marseille, I was very impressed with the lane discipline.
Yes.
On the 2 lanes, the people
Yes,
actually
that's a
got
good
out of the
point.
way for you.
That is a good point.
You didn't have outside lane hoggers.
Or
But I was actually
middle lane
thanked.
hoggers.
I was actually thanked several times by French drivers for letting them into the traffic flow. Now that is a thing that you never used to experience.
I was expecting the French people to be less polite for some reason. I've got no
Yes.
idea. I've got nothing to base that on at all. I was just expecting them to be.
But you know,
less
the thing
polite.
was,
they were so polite.
You're a victim of stereotyping.
I am a victim of stereotyping.
the thing is, though, you have to remember that, you know, when you let them in, you know, and they go V for victory, you know, it's not actually V for victory that
I thought it was a friendly gesture.
Yes, that's right. Well, this is where, unfortunately, a lot of people make that mistake, you know. But I will agree with you, and I've done a lot of driving in France, and I absolutely adore it.
It's a pleasure.
It is a lovely pleasure. And hello to Carol and Andy as well. They're out there. They're on honeymoon. They're on holiday at the moment in their gîte.
You obviously know something they don't.
In paradise, yes, paradise.
We've got lots of visitors. Lots of listeners this morning. We've got Dave,
Yes,
Athula.
hello, Dave.
She's there
Yes,
listening.
good morning, Dave.
Yeah.
Yes, you know. So
Athula, good morning.
Good morning, Lynn. I'm sure you're listening.
yes, I'm sure you're listening.
Morning, Trish.
Hello, Trish.
Hello,
yes,
Trish. You
yes.
listening?
Good
He's
Lord.
made it this week. You haven't got to get him up.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, in fact, he was earlier than Brian this morning, wasn't he?
He wasn't. They both our new people. Both our other people were early.
Yeah,
this morning.
the thing
I was chauffeur driven here this morning.
he was
so-
chauffeur driven. That's right. You know, yeah.
It's very good.
He wants to be chauffeur driven back again as well. You know.
Yeah,
so, but
all the way back to Newport.
all the way back.
We're going back to
Newport.
driving. I mean, the roadworks on the M1. I mean, I haven't been up to North of England for a long time, and coming back through Nottinghamshire, this particular stretch of roadworks must have been 35 miles long.
That's good.
But there was nobody working.
No, of course. Why should you work on roadworks? I mean,
It was just there to protect the workforce.
Well, of course
the
it was.
non-existent road.
no, that's right.
workforce.
That's right. I mean, this
But it's
is
appalling. But I think
they're virtual workers.
no. This is a government. This is a government way.
policy.
It's a government way of actually reducing the wear and tear on the roads because they put all these bollards up, and you have to drive on one side.
at a time.
Yeah. It only halfway's out.
Only half.
Well, I'm using both sides, but they were narrow lanes, and everything's at 50 miles an hour, and it causes
Yeah,
accidents.
but that high-speed
You
driving
get boxed in, don't you?
tears up the roads.
Yeah, and it reduces the pollution from vehicles.
Well, I think you've hit the nail on the head. I think this is what it's all about.
It is. It's just
Put in
So
roadworks to get the
virtual
speeds.
roadworks could save the country an absolute fortune.
Well, they weren't virtual. There was diggings. They had done something, but they
well,
left it so you couldn't use it anymore.
Yeah, but you see, this
again.
is so that the motorist then understands that, you know, oh look, there is a hole there, you know.
And it gives you something to peer in at when you're stationary in your car.
You just say peer, did you?
I mean, it'd be very
Oh,
boring.
it moved. I must say, no, it didn't stop once. It moved the whole time. But even then,
well, what are you on about then,
even
mate?
then, you
Come
got
on.
these people sitting in the middle lane, hogging the middle lane.
This is
Having a picnic.
ridiculous. I mean, I tell you what, you go down today, just go down and drive down the Edgware Road, right? And it will probably take you an hour and a half at least to get down there.
Why would you want to be driving down the Edgware Road?
Because that's when you stop.
Oh, yes.
And
Well,
you
it always has been.
you move 10 foot and stop, and you move 10 foot and stop. You know, I mean, it's so frustrating.
Yeah.
Absolutely frustrating.
So what route do you use to get into London?
Not the Edgware Road, I'll tell you that. You know, I
West
go
End
around-
Lane's the same.
I go around, but I go around all the back doubles. You know, I'm like a taxi
Well, you can't
driver.
these days.
Yes, you can.
No, you can't. All the back doors I used to do, all over London, have all been now closed off. So you can't, to stop people
Pedestrian
using them.
only.
There's rat runs.
Really?
Stop the rat
Yeah.
runs, yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Well,
one-way system's been introduced at the
Yeah.
drop of a hat.
Because
Absolutely
I
right.
haven't used the rat runs for about 20 years. So
Well, there you go. No, things are very different now.
they're not, are they?
Yeah, there's no rat runs anymore.
Oh no.
Well, there is actually. I know a really good one. If you go down the bottom of the M1, slip down the back way into Claremont Road, down through the back of West Hampstead.
Past the football ground.
Into-
Hendon
in-
football ground.
yeah,
Yes,
past
yeah,
the
that's right,
football
yeah.
ground,
Yeah.
that way, Clitter House.
Yep.
Down.
Yeah, it's not too bad. But then
That's
you,
not a
then
lot
you
of
hit
good.
The,
That's not a lot of good though. If you're going to Wembley, you know.
Well, it's not bad actually.
Then you hit the Finchley Road, don't you?
Well, yeah. Well, you can go to the Finchley Road, or you can cut just inside the Finchley Road and go down past the Abbey Road Studios,
Yes,
Johns
yes,
Wood.
that's where I go.
And then you can take a parallel road that runs beside the Edgware Road all the way down to Marble Arch,
Or you can spend 35 minutes with your feet up taking the train into London.
which is the
No,
way
no,
to go.
no, because there'll be a naked man on the line.
Oh, sorry.
Actually,
Oh, yes.
Actually, talking about
Well, that would encourage you to take the train, Jim.
Would it?
Well, you know,
you get entertainment as well.
Well, your preference is out.
We're learning something this morning.
Talking about that, I've actually got to go.
That's a thing to get on the trains, isn't it?
I've got to go to London on Wednesday next week, and I don't really know whether to take the car part of the way.
Let the train take the strain.
Yeah, but the trouble is, you know, that there's two of us going, and because my wife is taking me to see a recording of Loose Women.
When are you going? Because a friend of ours is going to that.
Saturday. Oh, no, Wednesday.
Who's on it? Is Katie Piper or her name? Is it
I don't know. I don't know who's on it.
She's on.
I don't know. I'm going along for the ride. That's all. You know.
Now, more train offers where you get 2 for 1 tickets. I think that's the way forward for train travel. Off peak, 2 for 1 tickets.
Yeah, why do they not do that?
I don't know. I mean, it would be a logical thing to do, wouldn't it? Because you wouldn't want to travel on your own.
The trouble is, as well, you've got to go at the off peak. You know, you've got to travel after 9:30 or something, isn't it? Or after 9 o'clock or something. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's pretty good. I mean, I find that actually the off peak tickets are very reasonable.
About 14 quid, isn't it?
Yeah. 14 quid to London return, I think it's
that's not bad.
Yeah, but
it's
if you double that for 2 people, all right, and then that's much more than the fuel.
Yeah, but then you got to get on the tube and you got to park, and you got parking in London is just so horrendously expensive.
Is it? Hello, we've got another message.
Another message.
Another message coming, but there we go. Anyway, yeah. So next week I will be recalling it. What's the word?
Relating.
Yes.
And you're going to tell us how you got on in London
with
these loose women.
With the loose women.
Oh, yeah. Mike, you're going to enjoy that.
Oh, I know. I'm really looking forward to it.
Oh, nothing like a room full of loose women to set the tongues wagging.
No. Do you know, I wish I was a footballer, really. This guy, I don't even know what's his name? Radmel Falco, the guy that Manchester United have put on. They're taking on a £24 million gamble on this guy, but he's being paid £350,000 a week,
I think it's
allegedly.
Absurd. Being a tax he pays, though.
I mean, yeah, but given a good accountant, he probably wouldn't pay very much tax, would he?
Yeah,
and especially as he's a foreigner, he probably don't pay any at all.
Yeah. 300 grand a week.
350.
It's obscene, isn't it? It's obscene.
Yeah.
I blame Jimmy Hill.
Why?
Well,
he
ended the maximum.
Him and George Easton, wasn't it?
Yeah, the maximum wage.
It was £100 a week. It was less than that then. Was it £14 a week?
14 something. Yeah.
Because they were normal human beings in those days, footballers.
Well, they came from
on the bus and things like that.
They came from the same place that their supporters did.
Dead right.
And nowadays, there's a massive gulf between supporters and the players, you see. Mind you get the entertainment, so you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
I'm amazed that people will pay so much to go to a football match. I mean, it's £30 and £40 a go.
Oh, and the rest.
Is it? What's it cost now?
The best quote I had from a United supporter when we were at the Dons match was that they were waiting for the bus to go back to the station. And he said, well, we're out of Europe and we're out of this cup. Means I'll go on holiday this year.
Yes. That's right.
We have a request now from the people down at 2025 Films who said, good morning, you grumpy old man. Oh, that might be reflected to me. What a wonderful debate about traffic. Dull, boring, I suspect, is the comment. Please play me a song, any song.
That's not very nice, is it?
No.
Has he named himself?
No, I think that's a female. There's a female hand in that one.
You're talking about football. There's a new form of football out called walking football, isn't there? Which,
I think we should make a team up. Actually,
I think that'd be quite good.
I'd love to play that.
We need grumpy old walking football.
Yes.
I'd love, the grumpy old men.
Good fun. Yeah,
I mean, we could have a sort of special rule book of our own, couldn't we? We could have, sort of special grumpy points for corners and. A grumpy penalty, which would be a sort of an own goal, which would be...
You don't need it.
This is all because Mike hasn't lost any weight. He's trying to find a way of losing weight.
Now, listen, I'm going on the Swanbourne Challenge in a couple of months, about 6 weeks' time. It's a, excuse me, it's a 5-mile assault course, an army-style assault course, where you go through water and mud.
I'm going to laugh here.
Well...
when was the last time you did an army assault course?
Are you going to live, Mike?
I hope so. I'm taking my walking stick with me, and I have.
I think what you actually need is a cow prodder, mate. That's the walking stick. Yeah,
really?
Just to give you a bzz as you're going over the obstacles.
Well,
can we come and watch?
You can come and watch if you like. Yes, 5 kilometres. But I'm going to go off on the start and then just walk across to the finishing line. And I'll be the first one there, you know. Back in the
Do you think you ought to have a medical before you go?
Well, I don't know really. I'm trying to get myself fit for it, but it's not very easy really. You know, I'm trying to do a lot more walking, but it's not easy at all, I must say. There's a little bit here about the Gunners as well. Is that Arsene?
Oh, Arsenal, yeah. Arsene Wenger, yes.
Arsene Wenger, yeah.
What's he saying?
Well, the last time that Arsene Wenger signed a top-class striker, he was playing beach ball on the Copacabana in Brazil. And last night, apparently...
He was a
footballer he signed last night. He was at a charity football match in Rome, organised by the Pope. But that didn't stop the Arsenal boss moving swiftly as the minutes ticked down on the transfer deadline.
He signed the Pope?
Yes, he signed the Pope.
Well, the former Pope was a goalkeeper, wasn't he? He played for a league team in Poland.
He did indeed, yes, that's right. You know,
so who's this footballer he's talking about?
Oh, I don't know. It's not this £350,000 a week. But,
on a slightly more serious note, gentlemen.
Alexis Sanchez.
Have you heard Bill Shankly's quote that football is more important than God?
That was Shankly, yeah. Bill Shankly, yeah. Well, it is.
Did you know that each week the security services make 10,000 requests for information?
Sorry?
Each week the security services make 10,000 requests for information. That's to tap a phone or to intercept email.
And that doesn't count the ones they don't ask permission for.
That's 10,000 a week. That's a huge number.
Who said so?
The Sun says so.
Oh, it's going to be right.
It's going to be true.
How did they know? Did they count them?
It'll be a freedom of information
all these
disclosure.
taps on the Sun and their journalists.
Yeah, be information disclosure.
Did you see that where the police got their information because they prosecuted a police officer for corruption because they'd actually hacked the telephone records of the editor of the Sun, and that's how the police found out.
Wow.
It was in some report this week. That's how they actually got it, and the Sun were outraged that anybody should dare to hack their phones.
It's just terrible, isn't it? I mean, this hacking
world
business.
Do we live in? What do we live in?
I got a phone, my phone at home on the BT phone, and it's got a little thing where I can actually block calls on it.
Yeah.
So my wife shoved this piece of paper in front of me the other day because we keep getting these calls, from. Somebody's had an accident in your home in the last couple of years, and we can take this claim on PPI. So I got this thing, and it's quite simple. It's quite an easy way to do it. You go onto the menu and you scroll down and blah blah. And then of course I realised there's certain numbers that you can block, and there's certain numbers that you don't obviously want to block because if somebody phones me from a payphone. Paybox, I'd like them to sort of get through and that, But I thought I'd done it all, but then I still keep getting these things of this. It's a government supplied, if I get my heating upgrade updated, there's government grants for it and all that. Now, how can these numbers? Because I have put on my phone that I don't want any non-identified numbers to get through.
Doesn't make a lot of difference.
No. I'm on this BT thing, this preferential call thing.
Well,
it's just a waste of time.
It is a waste of time because they overcome that by using the ploy that they're a research company and research calls are allowable.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, because I had O2 on the phone the other day in the week, and they said, Mr. Murray, we can save you money, So I said, that's good. Yes, I'd be quite interested. Yeah. Well, no. If somebody...
So the other way to do it is to let them talk because they're running up their bills.
Well, this is what I normally do, But I thought, this is good. And then I said, then the next question was, what service provider are you with? So I said, well, you don't know. So they said, no. So I said, well, this is very strange, isn't it, really? Because, all right, O2 are no longer part of BT. But they wanted me to tell...
I have strong evidence that O2 sell your information.
Oh, they probably do. Yeah, they probably do. Well, a lot of places sell your information, But so I said, well, you honestly don't know who my provider is? So she said, no. So I said, that's good. And put the phone down.
So what's it got to do with hotels?
It's only about hotels.
Confused, Mark. You did. You said they offered you a deal at a hotel.
No, save money.
I thought you said a hotel, didn't you?
No, you're not listening to the show.
It's a bit confusing.
If you're going to come in here, if you're going to come in here on a Saturday morning and not even listen to me, then there's no point in it.
You said hotel.
Well, I think we can argue amongst ourselves. For
You're like
some time
you
on
are
these
just the
subjects.
same as my wife. You know, I'm going to listen back to this. I'm going to listen back to this
Well, I
carefully, and see whether I used the word hotel at all. I didn't use the word hotel.
Well,
My wife
I was all ears when they said you'd offered you a room in a hotel.
My wife keeps accusing me of saying things that I didn't say.
Oh, I get that too.
You know, and it's just
Do you
absolutely
get that as well?
ridiculous.
Oh, right, talk about grumpy.
Well, no, it's not fair. It just isn't fair at all.
Isn't fair.
We've got Dave coming up.
violins out, won't
Dave
we,
coming up after us at 10 o'clock in just 10 minutes' time. Actually, he'll be with us and with his brand of music from the 70s and the 80s. Again with Charlotte. The pair of them will be entertaining you for a couple of hours here on SecloSounds.org.
So, what do you reckon? Obama went down to Stonehenge.
He went to a school. Didn't he turn up with a camera at his school in Newport? Carefully chose the school, needless to say.
Duke of Marlborough, wasn't it? Was it? I don't know. So
No, I don't know.
Obama went to Stonehenge. Come on, what's the rest of the joke?
I'm just, American president goes to Stonehenge and has a wander around, and they let him actually walk all over the stones. And
we can't, can we?
You know, even though I'm a member of various organisations such as English Heritage, I'm not allowed to walk anywhere near the stones.
No, you're fenced off, aren't you?
Yeah, this is just totally unfair.
No, he is the president. He's the
Given we're the 51st state, I mean...
Yeah, he's the strongest man in the world.
Is he?
I hear that Tony Blair's been offered an award as well.
Yes.
Tony Blair?
He's been offered, I don't know, some ridiculous award for...
Humanitarian.
Yeah, humanitarian.
Isn't that the pot calling?
Well,
I mean, you know, a lot of people don't. I actually like old Tony. I
You're
sort of miss him.
You're one of the few.
Well, maybe, but he made one mistake.
No, he didn't. He made loads of mistakes.
Well, he made one big mistake. He should never have made that comment.
He should never have married her, for one thing.
You know,
Ooh.
I mean, it's amazing how one comment or one little action can sort of be the major topic of conversation.
Like
for
we're
the
going
rest of
to
your
war,
life.
an unjustified war.
Well, it's like poor old
Tell
Mick
me how
Clegg
many.
getting
Tell me how
slagged
many
about
prime
the
ministers
students.
have taken this country to war without Parliament's permission. Tony Blair did it with Parliament's permission, and he's the only prime minister to have done it that way.
But he lied about it.
Well, whatever the circumstances were in 2003, he's the only prime minister who's actually taken this country to war with parliamentary approval. Every other prime minister in every other war we've been in, it has been the prime minister using their own royal prerogative powers has done it. So you should criticise him for doing it, but with parliamentary approval, well, it's a bit of rewriting of history.
Well, he did some good things, but then again, you know, one could argue that every prime minister, from Blair to Thatcher to John Major to, you know, they've all got their little good bits, but some of them have got
their bad bits.
Oh, some of those bad bits, some of the things they got wrong. I mean, you know, we just look at their great travesties.
Selling off the railways.
Yeah, selling off the council houses.
The
way they were sold without actually building new ones and to replace them. That was a good piece of government
You mean like
policy.
David Lloyd George introducing OBEs and MBEs and all the honours just to fund the Liberal Party?
Absolutely. What a great idea that was. Lloyd George is a national hero, I think.
Wasn't he?
Do you know my
sexual
father?
opportunist.
They gave him the George Cross as a result of it, I believe. It was named after him, it wouldn't surprise me.
My father knew Lloyd
what
George.
a hero, what a man.
Lloyd George knew my father.
Yeah, that's right. Are you enjoying those Jaffa cakes, eh? Good Lord, you know, these guys come into the studio, they drink copious quantities of tea and
Well,
they
it was £4.
But we only eat the Jaffa cakes after we've been weighed.
Well, yes, I know.
That's true, actually.
And I've lost £1, so I'm very happy this week.
Good, well done.
I'm very happy too, because I lost
Gentlemen, the
£4.
time has come, the war was said, for us to say goodbye.
It was the time to say goodbye.
Because we're going to go away for the weekend. Have yourself a nice weekend, and from me, Mike Barry,
Lee Bob Luffield,
Brian White,
Alan Mallion.
We'll see you again next week on the Grumpy Old Men between 8 and 10 here on Seclo Sounds Community Radio for Milton Keynes.
Bye, everybody.
I just want your sweet touch. stop messing with my mind. Can't you feel the heat, boy? Move your body next to mine. Ooh, I can't take it when I'm with you. I know I can't fake it. Whoa, it's overrated. It's only you. Time moving all night. Real love is all I want, baby. So real slow. Real love won't keep me feeling. You catch my meaning? I'm drifting like a boat off course because I'm dreaming about the sensual, physical attraction. A love that's real has turned me crazy like steel. I never ever thought that I could feel this way. Now the gravity's pulled me. I need you to stay within my grip and my grasp. Tight, moving all night. Real love is all I wanna make. So real slow. Real love keep me waiting. Tight, moving all night. Real love is all I wanna make. So real slow. Real love keep me waiting. Tight, baby, tight. Real love, oh, so real slow. Real love. All right, check this. I got the feeling. You catch my meaning?
MK Pulse proudly sponsors Seclo Sounds. MK Pulse is Milton Keynes' local magazine, bringing helpful information on food, health, fashion, money, travel, culture, and much more to 66,000 readers every month. Plus news, views, and what's on from around the city. If it's happening in Milton Keynes, it's in MK Pulse, and it's available online at www.mkpulse.co.uk. MK Pulse and Seclo Sounds, the heart and soul of the city. Food, health, fashion, money, travel, culture, and much more to 66,000 readers every month. Plus news, views, and what's on from around the city. If it's happening in Milton Keynes, it's in MK Pulse, and it's available online at www.mkpulse.co.uk. MK Pulse and Seclo Sounds, the heart and soul of the city.
I saw a man brought to life. He was warm, he came around like he was dignified. He showed me what it was to cry. Well, you couldn't be that man.
MK Flyers Online, the fast and simple way to find any kind of business or service locally. Find us at mkflyersonline.co.uk